What if you only had 1 year left to live? How would that change the way you live today? Most people move through life like they have all the time in the world. They plan, they delay, they say, one day I'll change, one day I'll be better, one day I'll make things right with God. But that one day keeps slipping further away until one day there is no day left. The clock doesn't pause for your plans. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Every second you breathe is a second closer to your final one. And the truth most people avoid is the one they need to hear most. Time is not guaranteed. It's easy to forget how fragile life is when everything feels routine. You wake up, go through your day, distracted by noise, drowned in to-do lists, scrolling past your own soul. But deep down, there's a voice calling you, a quiet, persistent reminder that you were made for more. You weren't created just to survive the week. You were made to live with fire in your heart, clarity in your soul, and purpose in your steps. But that kind of life doesn't happen by accident. It starts the moment you realize how little time you actually have. Most people waste years waiting for the perfect moment to get serious about life. They chase things that won't matter in the end, status, comfort, approval, only to discover too late that they traded their purpose for distractions. The world teaches you to seek safety, but God calls you to something higher. He calls you to live like every breath is borrowed, like every day is a gift, like every choice echoes into eternity. When you understand that your life is short, everything changes. You stop settling. You stop pretending. You start living like your actions matter, because they do. You start choosing peace over pride, love over ego, God over noise. You stop wasting your days on things that won't matter at the end of your story. And you start asking the most important question of all. Am I living for something eternal? This isn't about fear. It's about awakening. When you finally grasp how brief your time is, you stop being afraid to live boldly. You stop hiding your faith. You stop putting off the calling in your heart. You step into your days with intention. You pray with urgency. You love without delay. And you serve with a heart that knows what's at stake. If you're tired of drifting, if you're tired of feeling empty, then listen closely. This moment could be your turning point. Don't let your life be a series of almost and some days. Don't wait until you're out of time to start living with meaning. You still have today. You still have this breath. And as long as you do, it's not too late to live for what matters most. Stay with this message. Because by the end, you won't just be inspired, you'll be transformed. You were not created to live a life of confusion, fear, or emptiness. You were created for connection. Deep, honest, life-changing connection with the one who gave you breath. The world tells you to prove yourself, to work harder, to earn love. But God isn't asking for perfection. He's asking for presence. He's not waiting for the perfect version of you. He's reaching for the real you, the one who's hurting, unsure, and longing for something more. There's a lie many people carry for years, that they have to fix themselves before they come to God, that they have to be holy, spotless, clean. But that lie is a trap, because healing doesn't happen before surrender. It happens because of it. You don't come to God when your life is finally in order. You come to Him so He can bring order to the chaos. You don't need to hide your flaws, your doubts, your weaknesses. God already sees them, and He loves you anyway. You don't earn that kind of love. You simply receive it. So many live with the pressure to perform, to be liked, to be impressive, to seem strong. But performance doesn't bring peace. Connection does. Relationship does. When you realize that God isn't grading you, He's inviting you, everything inside you starts to shift. You stop trying to outrun shame. You stop carrying guilt that was never yours to hold. You stop measuring your worth by broken standards, and you start living from a deeper truth. You are chosen. You are seen. You are enough. Not because of what you do, but because of who made you. Living for God isn't about being louder or more religious. It's about being available. It's about opening your heart every day and asking God, how can I love you today? How can I honor you with my life? That's where purpose lives. That's where peace flows. When your life becomes less about chasing approval and more about reflecting the one who made you, you unlock a kind of strength that the world can't shake. And yes, the world will still be chaotic. People will still misunderstand you. But you'll carry something inside that circumstances can't destroy. A quiet, solid assurance that you're walking with God day by day, breath by breath. And that's where real power lives. Not in how loud you are, but in how surrendered you are. Not in how perfect you appear, but in how honestly you trust. You don't need to have all the answers to say yes to God. You just need to start where you are. You just need to believe that your life matters to Him more than you've ever known, because it does. And when you begin to live like that's true, everything changes. From the way you see yourself to the way you face tomorrow. Keep listening, or keep leaning in, because this is the beginning of everything real. Every choice you make is shaping the story of your life. Whether you realize it or not, you are writing your legacy one decision at a time. And the most dangerous mistake you can make is to believe that the small moments don't matter. They do. What you say, what you chase, what you ignore, these are not just habits. They are the building blocks of your eternity. When you live without direction, you drift. And drifting always leads you away from what matters most. So many people wake up one day and realize they've been living someone else's dream, chasing someone else's values, repeating someone else's mistakes. They traded meaning for motion. They were busy but not alive, successful but not fulfilled, surrounded but still empty. Because no matter how much you achieve, if your soul is starving, you've already lost. A full calendar can't fix a hollow heart. And one day the noise fades, the crowds disappear, the spotlight dims, and all you're left with is the truth you can't avoid. Did I live for what truly matters? You were not created to spend your life climbing ladders that lead nowhere. You were not made to live numb, distracted, or half awake. You were made for depth, for love, for impact. And until your life is aligned with God, something will always feel missing, because something is. Your soul knows when it's not being nourished. And no achievement can substitute for the peace that comes from knowing you are right with God. The cost of a wasted life is not just lost time, it's lost purpose. It's the pain of realizing you had so much potential, but fear kept you quiet. Doubt kept you still. Pride kept you distant. And now the chances are gone. The people you were meant to reach have passed through your life unnoticed. The healing you were meant to bring remains untouched. The light you were meant to shine has dimmed under the weight of hesitation. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You still have breath in your lungs. You still have time to turn around. But it starts with honesty. It starts with courage. You must be willing to let go of what's killing your spirit. You must decide that your life is too precious to waste on anything that doesn't honor your Creator. Every heartbeat is a reminder that God hasn't given up on you. So don't give up on yourself. Refuse to settle for a life that looks good on the outside, but feels broken on the inside. Refuse to leave your purpose on hold while you chase things that will never satisfy. You only get one life, and when it's over, what you did for yourself dies with you. But what you did for God, that's what lives on. That's what echoes into eternity. You are here for a reason. Don't wait to find it. Live like you believe it. Live like your soul depends on it, because it does. You don't need a new life. You need a new direction. Right now, in this very moment, you have everything you need to begin living for God. Not when you're more spiritual. Not when you feel more ready. Right now. Because surrender isn't about knowing everything. It's about trusting the one who does. It's not about being strong. It's about admitting you're weak and letting God carry what you were never meant to hold. Every morning is a fresh invitation. Before the pressure, before the noise, before the world demands your attention, there's a quiet whisper calling you back to truth. You don't need to start big, you need to start real. Just speak, just breathe, just listen. Begin the day not with anxiety, but with intention. Invite God into your heart, into your mind, into your plans. You will be amazed at how peace floods in when presence comes first. As you move through your day, bring God with you, in your decisions, in your reactions, in your thoughts. Ask yourself the questions that pierce through confusion. Does this please God? Is this building who I'm meant to be? Is this taking me closer to who He created me to become? These small moments of awareness shift the entire direction of your life. They turn ordinary routines into holy ground. They turn wasted hours into worship. Living for God is not about being perfect every second. It's about being intentional in every season. It's about choosing to pause before reacting, choosing love over ego, choosing grace over judgment, choosing purpose over pressure. And when you fall short, and you will, don't run away from Him. Run to Him, because growth is not measured by how many times you fall, but by how quickly you return. Every return writes a new chapter. Every surrender sharpens your vision. Every moment spent with God becomes a seed that grows into something unshakable. And when the day ends, don't just collapse into exhaustion. Reflect, return, realign. Ask yourself, where did I drift? Or where did I listen to fear instead of faith? Where did I choose noise over stillness? But don't let those questions bring shame. Let them bring clarity. Let them remind you that you're not doing life alone. God is not distant. He's not watching from far away. He's walking beside you, step by step, waiting for your heart to stay open. Your daily choices are sacred. They are shaping your destiny. You don't need to do something massive to live for God. You need to do the small things with a faithful heart. You need to wake up with gratitude, speak with truth, move with courage, forgive with strength. And when all else fails, just keep showing up, keep saying yes. Because it's not about how fast you grow, it's about how faithful you are when no one's watching. This is how lives are changed. Quietly, daily, deeply, don't underestimate the power of today. It could be the day heaven begins its work in you. The way you live speaks louder than anything you say. Your habits, your reactions, your priorities, they all tell the world who you really are and what you truly believe. You don't need a stage to make an impact. You don't need recognition to change lives. All you need is consistency, integrity, faith. Because when people see someone who lives with conviction, who walks with purpose, who loves without condition, they notice. And even if they don't say it, they feel it. Your life is preaching a message every single day. Make sure it's one worth remembering. What you do in secret reveals who you are in spirit. The conversations no one hears. The choices you make when no one's watching. The way you treat people who can do nothing for you. These moments define your soul. Not because you're being judged, but because they reflect your alignment. You're either living for approval or living from a place of truth. You're either led by fear or fueled by love. And the world is watching, not to criticize, but because it's searching. Searching for something real, something deeper, something eternal. And your life might be the only light they ever see. The beauty of a surrendered life is not that it's loud, it's that it's steady, rooted, unshaken. In a world filled with noise, confusion, and false promises, a life anchored in God becomes a beacon. It doesn't need to argue, it doesn't need to prove, it simply shines. It reflects grace, it extends mercy, it carries peace into places that have never known it. And it does all of this not by accident, but by decision. By waking up each day and choosing to reflect the one who gave it breath. You may never know the impact your life has on others. You may never see the seeds you plant, the change you break, or the hope you inspire. But you don't need to. That's not your job. Your job is to be faithful, to live with courage when fear surrounds you, to stay honest when lies are easier, to love when it costs you, because every act of obedience echoes beyond what you can see. And sometimes the quietest life leaves the loudest legacy. You don't need to be perfect to reflect God. You just need to be willing. Willing to be consistent in your surrender. Willing to stand firm when it's easier to bend. Or willing to love when it's not returned. Willing to live with eternity in your heart even when the world tells you to chase the temporary. Because in the end, it won't be your resume that matters. It won't be your image, your possessions, or your achievements. It will be your heart, your faith, your obedience. Live like your life has meaning because it does. Walk like your steps are sacred because they are. Speak like your words have power because they do. You are the message. Let it be a message worth echoing beyond your time. Let it point upward. Let it point home. One day your heart will beat for the last time. And in that moment, nothing else will matter but the condition of your soul. Not your job title. Not your accomplishments. Not how many people knew your name. What will matter is what you lived for. What you gave your life to. What you chose when no one else could choose for you. The final breath has a way of stripping away every illusion. It reveals the truth with terrifying clarity. And for many, that truth comes too late. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. You're still here. You still have time. And what you do with that time will echo far beyond your last breath. This life is not all there is. You were made for something eternal. Something greater than comfort, success, or survival. You were made for God. You were made to walk with Him, live for Him, and finish your life empty of regret and full of purpose. Because when the end comes, and it will, you won't be asking how much you made, how much you owned, or how far you traveled. You'll be asking, did I love well? Did I live for truth? Did I honor the one who gave me life? It's so easy to live like the end is far away, to believe you have time to change, time to grow, time to come back, but time is not promised, and every moment spent in apathy is a moment stolen from purpose. Don't wait to wake up. Don't wait to make peace. Don't wait to say yes to the call pulling at your heart. Waiting is the enemy of transformation. It sounds harmless, but it kills slowly, quietly, completely. You don't drift into purpose, you decide into it. The day you choose to live for God is the day everything shifts. The fear begins to lose power. The shame begins to lose grip. The confusion begins to clear, and your life begins to mean something more than survival. It begins to reflect heaven. And even when it's hard, even when it costs you, it's worth it. Because nothing this world offers can compare to the peace that comes from living aligned with eternity. You were not meant to be lukewarm. You were not created to wander through life wondering why you're empty. You were created to burn with conviction, to live with fire in your soul, to walk with God so closely that people feel His presence just by being near you. That kind of life doesn't happen by accident. It begins with a choice, a simple yes, a deep surrender. Don't waste this life chasing shadows. Don't die with your purpose buried inside you. You get one life, just one, and every second is sacred. Make it count. Live it boldly. Live it with eternity on your mind and God at the center of your soul. Because when your final breath comes, the only thing that will matter is whether you truly lived. And now you still can. Eternity is not far away. It's closer than you think. Closer than your next breath. Closer than tomorrow's plans. Closer than all the noise that tries to pull your heart in 1,000 directions. And one day it will no longer be a distant idea. It will be your reality. You will stand before the one who gave you life, not as a stranger, not as a statistic, but as a soul. And in that moment, every distraction, every excuse, every delay will vanish. Only truth will remain. Only love. Only what was done for Him. This is why your life matters. Not because of what people see, but because of what God sees. He sees your hidden battles. He sees the quiet choices no one applauds. He sees the tears you cry when no one understands. And He sees the effort it takes to keep walking when your strength is gone. He doesn't miss a moment, not one. And He's not asking you to impress Him. He's asking you to walk with Him. He's asking for your yes. You weren't meant to live disconnected. You weren't made to chase approval from a world that constantly shifts. You were designed to live anchored in something unchanging. And that anchor is found in Him, in His presence, in His love, in His purpose for your life. A purpose that doesn't fade with time, a purpose that doesn't disappear when seasons change. It's steady, it's sure, and it's waiting for you to fully step into it. Don't live on the surface anymore. Go deeper. Wake up with a sense of mission. Walk through your days with spiritual vision. Speak with power. Forgive without hesitation. Love without limits. Let your life become a reflection of the eternity you were created for. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs people who are rooted, people who carry light, people who are not swayed by trends or fear or pressure, but are grounded in truth. Let your life be proof that it's possible to live with clarity in a foggy world. Let it be proof that you can live with peace even when the storm doesn't stop. Let it be proof that surrender isn't weakness, it's the beginning of real strength. There's something powerful that happens when you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the one who sees beyond what you can. This is your moment, your invitation, your line in the sand. You can't go back and rewrite the beginning, but you can decide what the ending looks like. You can choose today to live with eternity in your heart. You can choose to rise, to return, to walk in alignment with the purpose that called you from the beginning. You were made for this. You were made for more. Life is short, but it's not meaningless. And when you live every day for God, you don't just survive, you shine. You become the message. You become the light. You become the legacy heaven remembers.